dear students. Welcome to our channel, English Literature on a Click. This is our first lecture, and today, in my first lecture, I'm going to discuss with you briefly the history and different historical periods of English literature. As we all know, being the students of literature, that English literature starts from Anglo-Saxon time period, and and it and gradually, with the passage of time, it has traveled several phases, and it has been remained under the influence of several movements, and the dominant movements of English literature are classical and romantic. The very first period, Anglo-Saxons, is a bit different. So, I will just arrange a separate conversation on that very period. The next would be Anglo-Norman after the Norman conquest. The primary features, the prominent literary figures, and the prominent literary genres will be discussed in that lecture. And then gradually we will move to Renaissance. Renaissance, as we all know, that is a bright time period for the emergence of English drama. English drama reached to its climax during that time period, and that very age is the age of our favorite William Shakespeare and Christopher Marlowe. There were other university wits as well, like Thomas Gade, and Marlowe, anyhow, was the leader of this group of university wits. Then, if we talk about the poetry of that very period, then we find the name of Shakespeare again. We will find the name of Sidney, and then Spenser. Spenser's role is very great because Spencerian models were being followed during the age of Puritan time. Although the literary productions were banned and all the static activities were banned during the Puritan era, then comes the age of Restoration. Restoration again brought the new trends and transitions that were common in France, because the monarchy was restored with the collaboration and with the help of French kings and France. And that time we have Dryden, we have a lot of other names. We will have separate discussions on all the literary writers, genres that have been dominated or had been remained dominated in any era. This is just a brief intro from my side. Then this very time of Reformation was followed by classicist time period, and in that classicist time period they were, as we all know, extremely methodical people, and they just devised methods for writing poetry under strict meters, and domains of poetry were introduced, and their sole purpose was to didact, and then their prose is also didactic. They focused on reason instead of emotions and imaginations that had been remained popular in the Renaissance time period, because that time period was inspired of the Greek models and anyhow, we will just discuss that later during the Renaissance discussion. After this time period comes the Romantic Revolution. Romantics, as we all know, we have our very hot favorite William Blake, Wordsworth in the earlier phase, and we have our very favorite Shelley, Byron, and Keats in the later half of the Romantic era. And after Romantic era, we find Robert Frost, and then Victorian time period, and we find Tennyson, Browning, Rossetti, Christina Rossetti. There are several prominent names and wonderful names of that time period, including poets, dramatists, and novelists. During that time period, from Reformation to Restoration to Victorian, and other genre emerged in the history of English literature. That very genre is called novel, and it was initiated by Richardson, Clarissa Richardson, and then Thomas Henry Fielding. Henry Fielding promoted it, and then we have Jane Austen. We have Bronte sisters. I personally like and admire Bronte sisters' work, and then we have very wonderful names, including George Eliot and Thomas Hardy in the era of novel. So then gradually comes the modern time period, and in modern time period we have the names of modern poetry, modern dramatists, Henrik Ibsen, Bernard Shaw, and we have poets like Philip Larkin, we have poets like T.S. Eliot, and so this was an orientation. We are going to discuss a lot, and personally, I like literary theory. So although I am not a very profound scholar, I'm not even a scholar, but I like to share my views regarding critical theory and literary theory, because I personally like theory more than criticism. But we will discuss criticism as well. Thank you so much for listening to the orientation of what I have been planned for this channel. Please promote us, and as I have already told you, that my topics of discussions will be based on the academically celebrated literary figures, dramatists, poets, novelists, critics, but my focal attention will be on the problems of my subscribers. Okay? It means if you are interested in asking any question, you can ask your question and comment, and depends on the number of comments, I'll just plan a separate lecture on those, and I'll just mention the subscribers who have been asked about the question in my lecture. Thank you so much for today. Allah Hafiz.